Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Through My Own Lens. My name is Marko, and here we talk about Bitcoin, entrepreneurship, my boring business, storage lockers, and vending machines, as well as my passions for cigars and golf. But in today's episode, right after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, I want to touch base on a topic that's been in the news for a long time, and that is inflation. Still until today, I receive a lot of questions. What is inflation? Why does it happen? How can I, prepare myself or work or save or invest to fight inflation for that occurs to me personally, that happened to me personally? And I want to make a quick video to really bring a little bit light to this topic because a lot of people still do not understand how inflation works and how it affects you and your family's purchase power. So therefore, we have a little bit work on an iPad, as well as some websites that you can later on find in the description of this video that you can click and do some research by yourself. And yeah, let's get right into it. So what is actually inflation and why does it happen? Well, inflation, and I'm writing it down here as well. So inflation, and I'm not saying 100%, but 99.9999999%, it happens because of one reason. And the reason is government overspending. So that means the government spends more money on whatever they say they're spending it on and do not have the income to cover those deficits. It's a budget deficit. So here in the United States, we have a massive budget deficit for, I think, the last president, and you can quote me if I'm wrong with that. I think the last president that really had a positive budget was Clinton, and that was somewhere around 2000, 2001, so a long time ago. And there's really only three reasons or three ways the government can really cover the budget deficit. So there's three ways. Let's make it simple. Three ways, and I'm going to use a different color so to make it a little bit more visible for everybody. So three ways how you can save them or how they can cover the budget deficit of overspending. Number one, it's raise your taxes. Well, that is already here in the United States quite a popular thing to do. We're raising taxes if it doesn't matter if it's on your income, on your capital gains, is it on so many different ways, property taxes, whatever it might be, raising taxes. The second way is to borrow. So the United States can borrow, some form of assets, some dollars, and that's usually a tax that comes later. Tax later. And then the most common thing that we do here in the United States and in most Western countries, print more money. And actually, that's not money. We're actually printing currency. So print more US dollar. And that looks really like the easiest and the most painless subject or painless way to cover your budget deficit. But I want to try to, bring it onto show you an example how really printing more money affects you and your purchase power. So now that we know that there's only three ways the government can really cover the deficit, like I said, raise your taxes, borrow more currency, or print more money, and that's usually what we do. I want to give you a simple explanation how printing more dollars affects you and the purchase power of your hard-earned money. And therefore, we're using a simple, really scenario, and that is like we would have in our economy $10, and let's say we have one bucket of apples. And in this bucket, we would have 10 apples. So that would mean, statistically speaking, $1 per apple. Now, if you would double this number, double that to $20 in the economy, that doesn't automatically mean that you have more apples, more goods. That only means that all of a sudden your apples actually cost you $2. Now, that is really what they do. It doesn't mean that you have twice or that you're not twice as rich. It only means that the apple costs twice as much. And in simple form, that's taxation on the working people. So that means really your hard earned dollars having less purchase power by just printing more dollars and putting them in circulation. That is inflation. That's really what it means. We increase the supply of the US dollar and automatically the purchase power declines. Now, that is, in my opinion, the most immortal way of taxation. And it really is a transfer of wealth or transfer of currency from the working class people to the rich people. And therefore, I would call it immortal because that is what we do. We really hurting everybody that works or works very hard for the US dollar, and our purchase power declines rapidly. Now there's many websites out there that show you exactly how much tech or how much inflation we had over a certain period of time. I want to show you probably one or two and give you a little bit an idea how the printing money, the process of the Federal Reserve and the government by overspending really hurts you. And I hope I can share this in a nice way with everybody today. So let's see what we have. So I have two websites here, and then I have a graph later. But this website is called usinflationcalculator.com. It's not really complicated to find, but it's a simple calculator to show you if you purchase something in 2020 for $100,000, this same item would cost you in 2024 $121,992. That means they're calculating that we would have or we have an inflation of 22% since 2020, so for the last 4 years. Now don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that are making a lot of money in the last couple of years, but for the regular Joe who received a 22% salary increase over the last 4 years, I don't know, a lot of people. Maybe there's some athletes for sure, but a regular person that works in a retail job, that works maybe in a hotel, that has a regular 9 to 5 job, I do believe probably more than 75-80% did not receive a 22% raise on their salary on a, let's be fair about it. So this is a US inflation calculator. And then there's another one that is my good old friend from Trueflation. Just a side note, I'm an investor in Trueflation. But Trueflation calculated that we have 25.98% aggregated inflation index from the February of 2022 until today. So 26%. That means our purchase power declined by 26% in the last 4 years. That means for every $100 that you have in your pocket 4 years ago, right now your purchase power is only $74. And that's probably very modest, because if I go to the supermarket right now, I really don't get any item under $5. I mean, everything is $5 and above. And let's not talk about my favorite fruits, grapes. It's like insane. You go buy a bag of grapes, it's like $10. So I personally believe it's probably way more in certain goods and certain services. But 26% is what we have inflation literally for the last 4 years. So this is a big problem for most people, for most working class people, for most people like me that come and try to earn an honest living. We have a decline of our purchase power. So whatever I make, whatever I charge clients, whatever I receive to my business, it has really a big effect on me and my family because it's so expensive. Everywhere it's very expensive. You go out somewhere, I mean, it's insane. A simple meal is like $28-30. I don't even understand that anymore. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's why a very smart person, Mr. Nakamoto, or the group of people created Bitcoin. And I'm a big believer in Bitcoin. You guys know that already. So I would highly suggest that you getting on board with Bitcoin. But before we're getting into Bitcoin and how Bitcoin can help you to work, the magic and give you more purchase power, let's get quickly back to another graphic that I want to share quickly with you. And that is really the decline of the purchase power of the US dollar for the last 110 years. So since 1913, the Federal Reserve was created, or in 1913, the Federal Reserve was created, and we lost 96 0.7% of the purchase power in the last 111 years. I personally believe it's probably close to 98%. So for $1 of purchase power in 1913, right now you could literally buy something for 2 cents. A complete disaster. But this is really what the government did with overspending, with a budget deficit for so many years, and printing more and more US dollar and putting them in circulation. Now, Bitcoin is here to help you. I personally believe dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin will provide you one form of opportunity to create more purchase power with something that will increase in value while your dollar decreases in value and purchase power. So take a look at the next episode. It's all about Bitcoin and how to invest in Bitcoin safe to accredited or secure platforms. So please tune in the next time when we talk about Bitcoin, how to invest in Bitcoin, how to buy Bitcoin, where to buy Bitcoin. It depends on your location, but I'm taking my location as United States as an example. So I hope this video was a little bit of helpful for you to understand what inflation is, what really the decline of purchase power means for you and me, and why it is important to have an eye on it and try to find solution that will really give you an opportunity to increase your purchase power over the next couple of years. So thank you so much for tuning in. One more time, my name is Marko. I hope you enjoyed. And as always, it is not the destination that is important. It is the trip or the journey that you should enjoy. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Oh, and by the way, Happy New Year to you and your family. I see you next year. Have a good one.